Yeah. Hi, Tim Smith Patel from Crit Buzz. So my question is, going into the interval, what do you think was the par score on this wicket, and where do you think you guys kind of lost the edge in this encounter?
Yeah, tough to know what a pass score is when there's only been 2 games played on the pitch, but I think there'd probably be a feeling that they got above par with that total there. Where we maybe lost control, I think we had a really good start. They might have been 4 for 50 after the power play, or a couple of overs after the power play, and we just maybe gave them an opportunity to build a partnership, and we saw right throughout that game it was tough up front with the new ball, and then once you got a partnership and the ball got a little bit softer, it was a bit easier to bat. So I think above par, but that's fair play to their batters. Shadab and Corey played some pretty good innings there.
Tim, hi, Dr. Nilesh Mehta from Chicago. 100 of 36 were required when you and Karen Pollard were at the crease. What were the thoughts at that time? You think at that moment it was a gettable score for a win?
Absolutely. We thought we could get it right until probably Polly got out. It's tough with a new batsman coming in, but yeah, look, there was a really strong breeze from one end, so and that was also with the long boundary, so it was very tough to score from one end, and particularly when you have Harris Ralph, who's one of the better or the best death bowlers going around, it's pretty tough to score off him. So we were just trying to get what we could off that end, and then from the end with the wind to the short boundary, try to maximise. So yeah, it's a tough ask when you've got that many runs to score, but Polly and I probably believe that if there's 2 guys that can do it, it's me and him. But we had good conversations out there, couldn't get it over the line.
Nate Hayes, Emerging Cricket. You have a lot of experience in the associate world, internationally speaking. So a tournament like this that gives associate players from the USA some big chances, you're in a unique position to understand exactly how significant that is. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to play associate cricket and what this the tournament like this would mean to more associate nations?
Yeah, so associate cricket is tough because you're playing. You would just look at the World Cup qualifiers that they just had. The boys are playing, 4 ODIs, 5 ODIs in a week, and that's pretty tough physically to get up for. You don't have the luxury of the better hotels, the better food available, and the support staff around you. So yeah, for me it was playing associate cricket early in my career was a massive learning part for me because I knew what I had to do to prepare. And then once I got the opportunity to come into, I was lucky that when I was playing the Big Bash, I had the opportunity to rub shoulders with some experienced international players, and you kind of, if you're willing to learn off those guys, and I'm sure that a lot of these local USA players are they're probably the first game there's a few nerves, and as they get into the tournament, they'll hopefully get some real piece of gold from some of the really experienced international players. You look at the squads that like the who's who of international T20 cricket and franchise cricket, they're all here playing in this tournament. So it's an amazing opportunity, and it's one that as a young player, when you're trying to get a go, trying to find the best way to improve, it's an awesome opportunity for those local guys.
And a follow-up to that, do you feel like the USA players coming back so recently from Zimbabwe, where they experienced a lot of sickness and fatigue, and also didn't really get the results that they wanted, having to turn around and playing in this tournament, do you feel like that is going to attribute maybe to a slower start?
I don't think so. I think as you get to international cricket and professional cricket, you've got to be ready to go whenever the opportunity comes. So yeah, it's tough. But boys are playing around the world all the time. You've seen guys come here from international cricket, lots of different series. So it might be something that they're not used to, but if they want to keep, the guys that are going to stand out are the ones that are going to perform well, and it's pretty cutthroat. These are high quality games.
Great, thank you.
Hello Tim, this is Rashna Kasi from NPR. When you were down, Mumbai lost some quick wickets. So what was your strategy going down there, chasing that huge total?
Yeah, it was in front of us, so we had to score pretty quickly from the get-go, but it's also really tough to walk out and just hit the ball out of the middle of your bat straight away. So I gave myself a little bit of a chance to get in because we felt like there was when it got to our match-up, that was a conversation with Polly and I. Once it got into our favour, we could really try and put our foot down. It probably just it happened a little bit too late for us there. But we saw, Polly taking it down from that, and you'd see most of the day that most of the boundaries were from, or the sixes were from one end, scored towards the shorter side. So, the strategy was just to play good shots, and then once it became pretty obvious we had to go for it, then just go for it.
Hey Tim, Salo from It's Called Cricket. Well played today, unfortunate to just come up a little bit short. Obviously MLC is a pretty short tournament, just 5 games before the knockout stages. So I was wondering, how do you learn from this loss? What do you take back to the group? And then how do you rebound, I guess, to turn it around in the next game?
Yeah, I think the positive of not playing your best is it's pretty clear where you can improve. If we played our best game and come up short, that would be tough. So it's pretty obvious where we can improve from today's performance. And then also there were some really good individual performances. So confidence for guys to take into the tournament. And I'm sure that, maybe with it being a shorter tournament, there are limited opportunities. Sometimes you don't get a lot of a go, but everyone's ready to try and put in a winning hand. And it is going to be cutthroat. It's high quality, and 5 matches. We've only got 4 left now, so we've got to get cracking on the points board. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good? Everyone hear me? Cool.
Thank you. Hi Corey, this is Smith from Cricket Buzz. So you were 4 wickets down under 10 overs, and you took the attack to the opposition. At what point of time did you assess the competitive score out there?
Honestly, I mean, we didn't think we were going to get to 200. I think in those kind of situations, there's got to be a little bit of risk and reward. And I think too many times you see teams go into their shell and 60 for 4 becomes, 80 for 6, and then you just manage to get to 100 or 120. Against that kind of opposition, with that kind of firepower, we knew we had to get some sort of total that was going to be enough for our bowlers to defend. We've got a good bowling attack as well, but with Shadab and I kind of, I guess, teeing off out there and doing that, it put us in a position where we were going to do well, and a couple of boys came in and struck it well as well. So, look, I don't think we assessed targets. I think it was picking our bowler and going from there. I think with the smaller boundaries here as well, you can kind of get away with a little bit. It's probably could end up being a little bit of a bowler's graveyard by the end of the comp, but it is what it is. Guys will figure out plans and go about it in the next sort of week or two. So it was more of just a wait and see who came onto the attack and go from there.
Nate Hayes, Emerging Cricket. When you were in a hole when you came in, and then when Shadab came in, you were in an even deeper hole. You didn't really have any more overseas bats behind you, so you probably knew you had to bat the rest of the game or close to it. Considering the immense heat here, do you think it was beneficial? Do you think you had an advantage because you live in the area and you play minor league cricket in the area?
I'd normally say yes, but I think if you live in this heat, you never get used to it. So, look, I think with the guys we've got, our domestics are great as well. So, yes, Shadab was in there with me, and we know he can hit boundaries and tee off. We had Sajinda straight after, and then Bishnoi as well. So, in my head, I'm like, I've seen those guys be able to hit the ball. I've got confidence in those guys from the last, couple of years, and when I've seen them in comp. So, that's the beauty of what we have in, I guess, our lineup as well, as we're trying to create the trust around, if you take it on yourself to do it, but if you don't do it, you're going to trust the next man up as well. So it doesn't always come off. Today kind of worked in a way that everything sort of lined up and we got a good total. But I think regardless of what that scoreboard looks like, you've always just got to back the next guy that's coming in. And at the moment, teams got full faith in each other to do that.
Corey, Nilesh Mehta from Chicago, good seeing you again.
Likewise.
Give us the general sense of the tournament so far, the pitch so far, and your overall kind of a sense of how things have transpired for you, your team, MLC, etc.
I mean, there's probably 2 ways to look at it. I think if you're an overseas player that's come over here, it kind of looks like this thing's just been dropped into the middle of Dallas and everything's been put on. That's not the case. I think the domestics know, I definitely know that there has been so much work put into this taking place, from meetings to everything. So I think it's fair to say to the domestics, it means a lot more to the domestics because of the work we know that's gone into place. There's still lots more work to do as well. But to see this being played in America, to watch it last night at home on TV was awesome. It's tough not to get emotional about it because it's what you've been building towards for the last few years. So to see a product like that with the American flag waving and it being a great product, a spectacle where there's runs, lots of runs scored, I mean, it's the perfect product for what we want America to try and fall in love with. So, look, there's obviously a lot more games to go. The ground staff's done a tremendous job from where this ground has come and how, you know, short turnaround they've had to lay the grass, to lay the wicket and everything. You know, you can't sort of fault anything that they've done. It's been fantastic. You've just seen 2 games with both teams getting, you know, apart from Kolkata, from LA last night, getting, you know, 120. But all in all, it's been a pretty good comp so far. 2 games in, but, you know, there's more to go, and hopefully it keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. So how do you rate this innings, given the world-class quality of the opposition, from the cricketing standpoint? And do you feel the Kohli of Wankhede 2014?
I've probably added a couple more clicks onto my body since that point. But, look, I can't say I feel like I was when I was back at Mumbai. That was probably a different sort of time. I still feel like I'm a similar player, yeah. I feel like I've still got the talent to be able to play at the top level. I haven't really doubted that. There was probably periods in America where I did doubt it just because of, I guess, some of the facilities and things like that. It's hard to keep improving your game. But, yeah, I've always backed myself. I've again, I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but I've played against some of the best players in the world, and I've done at times okay against them, and I've done badly at times as well. But you always take that evidence into everything that you do. Again, today could have gone very differently. I could have skied one up and got nothing, and I wouldn't be sitting here. So it's a very fickle game, and I understand that part of it. But yeah, to do it against some of those guys, you know, facing Trent again after many, many years of, you know, from living with them to, you know, bowling each other in the nets and things, it's great. It's also part of it. And, you know, I am a domestic here. I'm a local. Some of them probably don't see that as being the case because I used to play for New Zealand. But, yeah, America is now my home, and I absolutely love it here. And, yeah, just being part of this whole spectacle is unbelievable.
Yeah, and just a follow-up question. And at a personal level, you talked about some of the, you know, the things that you have to go through in these 3 years, 4 years. And at a personal level, how satisfying is it to emerge out of the cricketing oblivion of sorts of more than 4 years in this fashion at a world stage, you know, at a personal level?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. This, again, like I said earlier, I know everybody involved has been working towards this point, and so are the players. And I knew that this moment was the moment to try and prove something. Again, it may not have happened, and I'd have to try and do it tomorrow night or the next night or whatever the case may be. But it worked today, and yeah, I knew that I wanted to try and do something special, just because I've been in the wilderness for 3 years and everyone sort of forgets that you've been playing. So yeah, it's more on a personal note. It's nice to know that you can still do it. Again, it's having the confidence, but then if you haven't done it for a while, it's hard to sometimes get that confidence all the time. Again, you're going to have more bad days and good days. So, you know, I've got to hit the reset button. We've got a game tomorrow night. I'll hopefully have a pretty good sleep, I would imagine, after today. And then we go again. So, you know, scores are level. We have to start again and try and get another win. So you kind of got to forget it, yeah, and start again.
Peter Delphine with Cricket Info. You mentioned how a lot of this means more to the domestic players and the guys who are really invested here locally. As somebody who now is living here and whose wife is from here and got a lot of strong family ties here, and all the efforts that you've done coaching locally in the community, putting aside the runs and wickets and winning today, what about walking out today was the most rewarding or fulfilling part of this experience for you?
I think just to probably look at from where it started to where it is now, I think a lot of people would have doubted this whole situation of even taking place. There's always been rumours of cricket in America taking place, and this is going to happen, and they'll build a stadium. This has actually happened. This is now actually in front of us. So I think that's such a huge thing. I know even watching last night, I said it was hard not to get emotional about it, but just, you know, listening to the anthem, watching everything go, you know, the American flag waving. It's just an unbelievable spectacle, and that's where it hits on a personal note rather than the overseas boys, just because this is a franchise competition for them to come in and do their thing. But for us, yeah, this is home, this is our competition, and we want to try and, you know, put our best foot forward.
I think big picture, you've got a son now who's an American-born son. Can you envision, or what can you envision now in the future for whether your own son or somebody else's kid about what is possible now going forward for cricket?
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone talks about trying to get this into schools, and, you know, we need to bring it to everybody in America. This is the first piece to that. We've now got, this is what the result looks like, this is the outcome. If you watch this and you enjoy it and you want to see more of it, you get down to the ground, you sign up to your academies, you sign up to clubs, you do whatever you want to do and have to do in order to play cricket in America, and I think it's just going to get bigger from here. So this was a massive piece to it, and again, hopefully we can keep the same standard over the next few weeks and get Americans to fall in love with it.
Just one final question, please. Corey, please, just one final question. I'm doing a piece on him, that's why. So sorry. So the heat index was 45 degrees Celsius, and having played that knock, that speaks volumes about your fitness. There's a belief among a section of fans and of course administrators in USA about your fitness. So what is the level of fitness does it take to perform in these adverse conditions out there?
I mean, I'd love to say a lot, but I also missed the second half of the game because I probably wasn't up to it. But it's tough. I think, again, it's you try and sort of calm yourself a little bit, and you're the best one in that position to try and hit a six or hit a boundary and give his team the best chance to do it. Yeah, from the USA cricket standpoint, that's their decision. They can do what they want to do. Again, this has been the whole thing that we've been focusing on for the last few years. So, yeah, it's just, again, nice to get a win as a team, and good start to the comp.